Hi, everyone, and welcome to Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I'm your host, Jaron Rosine. I'm joined in the studio today by our producer, Nick Steffens. Our publisher is Matt Bryant. We're part of the Southeast Iowa Union. Later today, our guest will be Patty Koller from the Riverboat Foundation. Our guest on Wednesday will be John Gish from the County Attorney's Office. Looking forward to those conversations to come. Business per usual. If you have a birthday shout out, a local event, or an anniversary, just stick that in the chat, or you can always email washialive@gmail.com. A little bit on the local event side. Oh wait, hi Nick, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for asking.
Happy weekend.
It was a good weekend. How was it for you?
Good. It was busy. Mentioned we had music at JP's on Saturday night. We had the Iowa State game. I thought maybe we would be not busy, and we were absolutely packed.
That's good.
Standing room only.
Wow.
Some people had to not. It was great. So wonderful music by Randy, Gary, and Iris as the new drummer prodigy. She took lessons from.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was one of our first couple episodes. It feels like so.
So that legacy lives on, and that was really lovely. You traveled safely to Cedar Falls and back?
Yes, I did. And it was a great weekend. It felt like fall, which was really nice. Did some fall shopping for decor for my house because I didn't have anything fall yet. So
that's
nice.
Lovely.
Got some hand towels and pillows and blankets and all that stuff.
Did your girlfriend help with those selections?
Yes, she did.
Well, good stuff. So that was Saturday. Sunday, I want to throw the picture up. This was a special moment. In honor of Mary Bump, there's a bench at the Wellness Park. She was the class of 02, I was class of 03, and Mary passed on September 20th of 2021. Travis Vogel built this bench of stamped concrete, and the family came down, and Travis's wife Tania spoke, Kara spoke, we sang a song, and it was a really nice turnout to honor Mary, and I wanted to mention that on today's show. You can see this bench at the Wellness Park right next to the new pavilion. It was a special afternoon. It was nice. Okay, let's do our regular business. Weather as we speak, it is kind of cloudy, 64 degrees and partly cloudy. We had 75 calls for service in the police report since we last spoke. Traffic is in the lead. There was 19 traffic calls. 6 were public service, 6 were welfare, 5 with the animals, so that the bat sightings are down.
So I mentioned this before the show. I think I have a bat in my garage now. I went to go take trash out there, and I heard what sounded like wings flapping, and very large wings flapping. And so I just kind of tossed the trash and ran out.
Oh, you're a little scared of the bats?
I was scared. And my girlfriend was like, go in there and get it, and no.
So I do wonder, I don't think the wings make a lot of noise.
So that's why
they feel like they're kind of a quiet animal.
So maybe it's an owl? It sounded...
An owl.
I don't know what it is. I got scared and I ran it.
Well, keep an eye out.
I'll admit that.
It could just be a bird.
It could be. But it was late at night and I got scared.
Well, no, not as many bats in the police log. I do have a few things to report, though. We had a disorderly conduct with the subject not following the rules, who was refusing to leave at 604 South Iowa. I think that's the shelter. 103 and 104 responded. The subject left the area.
Just follow the rules, folks.
Well, you didn't put this one in there, but there was a public urination and a public intox as well.
Yeah, I saw that one, but I think it had the subject's name. I didn't want to. I knew we could take that out, but it was just kind of like.
Oh, whoopsie doopsie. But people are doing the right thing. We're trying to take ownership of our community, and if you see something, say something, call it in. We've got to have accountability with the vandalism and the bad behavior. So appreciate people. I mean, that's what needs to be done. You can't just turn a blind eye.
Yep.
We need to hammer down. All right. We have caller reports a hitchhiker on Highway 1 just south of the Crooked Creek Bridge. Male subject wearing all dark clothing, sticking his thumb out into traffic. Second caller reports the subject was walking around in the roadway. 92.7 responded and was unable to locate.
So I looked it up because I didn't know, I knew hitchhiking was illegal. Apparently you can, just not on the road. You can do it from a parking lot or anywhere else, just not on the side of the road.
I'm glad you did research. I wondered. This used to be the way. My grandpa went to college basically, he changed his mind a week into school, ended up going to the Iowa Teachers College, but changed his mind, hitchhiked all the way across the state from Fort Dodge Community College to the Iowa Teachers College, and did it from hitchhiking. Yeah, so one bag.
When my grandpa was proposing, or I think he maybe did it because he was in Korea, and I think he did it by mail, but he hitchhiked from Alabama all the way up to Iowa.
Amazing.
So like get married. So
just not quite
nowadays
the same.
You can't do that.
No, Craigslist, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, we have just a couple more calls to report, and then we will go to break and enjoy a conversation about the Riverboat Foundation with Patty. First up, we have the caller request assistance with a battery on his smoke detector. It's dying. It's been beeping for an hour. There's no smoke. There is no smoke or flames. He doesn't think there is a fire. Does not have a spare battery. Door is unlocked, and he was laying in bed. Ops 8. Many people responded. Riverside Fire, 92.9. The deputy on scene advised that it was just the air conditioner beeping.
Yes.
And we talked about this. Like, what do you do if maybe there's some mobility issues and then the alarm is...
Which I feel bad.
There's a lot to unpack in this one. I don't know what's going on.
But if you have mobility issues and you heard that chirping for an hour, I don't think I would have made it an hour. I would have made it 10 minutes. Those things are the most annoying noises.
Is your patience a low threshold for...
That beeping noise has to be one of the worst noises in the
You're
world.
not wrong. I guess I am spoiled. I didn't always have this, but replaced with the Nest thermostat.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Nest Protect. So then if there's like a fire or smoke, it would like alert my phone because it's all connected to the internet. Same with the thermostat. It wasn't crazy expensive, but it is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So that does not have the same chirping issue. It does its own little... It's
I
just
like 10-foot ceilings, so mine are
Magic.
like, they're super high. It's a pain.
We have two more. Caller advised that her burn pile in her backyard, this was weird.
This is awful.
Caller advised that her burn pile in the backyard, there's a big plastic bag covered in flies with a dead cat that appears to have been shot. 9221 responded and documentation. 9221 also spoke with the cat owner about the issue. They were advised to be sure their cats remain on their property. Do you think this is the cat from before?
That's what I was going to ask you.
Because we had, for those that are watching, you might remember, we had that call for service probably a week ago that they were threatening to shoot the cat, but they weren't going to shoot the cat, but then they said you need to keep the cat on your own property. This is some violent situations going on. This is in the northwest part of the county. Shenanigans. And that's terrible.
Yeah.
I mentioned how the circle of life is different. I grew up on a farm. The cat circle of life was short. But now that I have an inside cat, like I would feel terrible.
Yeah.
Like the circle of life is different. Okay. We just had a couple that you pulled from Iowa City, a call about subjects causing problems for the Big Ten.
I think we just called the cops on the Iowa State football team. I'm not quite sure what the goal was with that one.
We know how that went. And then finally, deer with tag on his ear, very friendly, following neighbor standing with the deer now. I would love to have been a fly on the wall for that one. Do we have anything else we need to cover before we go to break?
I think we're ready for break.
Hey, if you have a birthday, stick that in the chat. You can also email washialive@gmail.com. You're watching Washington Live. Stick around after the break when we have our guest, Patty, from the Riverboat Foundation.
At Ace, we're eager to assist you with all your shopping needs. Whether that be finally painting that room, getting ready for the next hunting season, or upgrading your bathroom. Whatever it may be, we'll make sure you get what you need.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
When you aspire to be a dancer, you are both an artist and an athlete. Your strength combines with beauty and grace seamlessly. Your efforts result in enhanced coordination, the ability to cooperate and compromise with others, and the confidence to perform in front of an audience. Not to mention the fun you will have and the lifelong friendships you will develop. We are enrolling now for fall classes, and we would love to see you shine like the star that you are. Join us for Dance and Tumbling at Stairway to the Stars. Please visit our website for online registration.
Hey, Andrea, did you hear about the claustrophobic astronaut?
I did not.
He just wanted a little more space.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Washington Live. I'm your host, Jaron Rosine. I'm joined now by Patty Koller, and we're going to talk about the Riverboat Foundation, some of the open roles that they have for the board seats, and just a little bit of that history. Thanks for joining us, Patty.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Before we hop into that, you mentioned how time flies, but a little bit of your background would be great to cover. I know it's a neat history with a few different careers in there. Share how you landed in Washington and what led to your role now at the Riverboat Foundation, would you?
Okay, as quickly as I can. So I came to Washington in 1981 to buy Wolf Floral, and actually it was September 1st of 1981 that I bought Wolf Floral.
Oh, fantastic.
So 21 years ago. Anyway, bought Wolf Floral, ran that for 20 years, sold it to Laura Bombi, who still runs it. And then I became a teacher, taught at Washington Junior High School until they consolidated with the high school, and then I was at Washington High School for 12 years, taught social studies.
Absolutely.
And during that time, I was on the Washington County Riverboat Foundation board.
That's what led into,
Yes.
okay.
So I was on the original Washington County Foundation board, Washington County Riverboat Foundation board, and then after I retired from teaching, I became the executive director of the Washington County Riverboat Foundation.
And was Jim Logan, your predecessor, was he the first in that role?
He was the first,
Okay.
yes.
Well, that's a neat history, too. Of course, you mentioned when you bought the flower shop, you bought it from the Wolf family.
Yes.
And it's been in existence now since
1913 was when the Wolf family started the flower shop on the square where it is now. They had a greenhouse before that time, down on East Polk Street across from the hospital.
Okay.
And they
interesting.
tore that down shortly after I bought the flower shop. They decided they didn't want to do the greenhouse anymore, and they would just have the
Just have the
retail
shop.
store. Yes.
Well, I appreciate touching on that history,
Yeah,
too. I think
history
it's
of
neat.
Washington is very neat.
And we've,
So that's why Wolf still, because it was in the Wolf family for so many generations.
and it's neat to honor that name. Yeah, owners changed, so that was your career, teaching. And now we are, the main reason I asked you on, I guess, was to talk about the Riverboat
Yes.
Foundation. Before we talk about those open seats, how about a little of that history, how it came to exist with the casino and what the role of the Riverboat Foundation is, what you guys do? Would you share that with us?
Yeah, so in the 80s, when gambling became legal in Iowa, the legislature decided that some of the profits from the gaming organizations would go to nonprofit organizations. And so if your county had a gambling facility, some of those profits had to go to a local qualified sponsoring organization, QSO.
Okay.
So when Washington County got a casino, we had to have a QSO, Qualified Sponsoring Organization, and that became the Washington County Riverboat Foundation. So we were organized in 2004, before
Okay.
the referendum passed in
So
Washington
that needed
County.
to exist and that structure have been established prior to the referendum?
Yes.
The QSO, that's
That's
part
right.
of the package?
That's
Okay.
part of the law in Iowa, to have that in place before you get the referendum, before you get a license, because the Riverboat Foundation is actually the license holder.
Okay.
The casino itself doesn't hold the license. The
Now, I did not realize that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's a partnership, obviously. So we decide that's the entity that we want to give the license to, the Riverside Casino and Golf Resort. Obviously, there isn't others, so we didn't have competition, but they have been very good to us. Obviously, we have been able to donate over $51 million.
That's what I thought. And it's
since
been
2006.
life-changing for
Right.
the county, and I would say the city of Washington. I think of,
Absolutely.
we went to school, Elizabeth and I were in school together. It'll be our 20-year reunion in
Next year.
Next year, that's
20
crazy.
years, yeah.
But I guess my point, when I was in school, just the way that retail has changed, the way that the community has changed and been able to survive and thrive, I think is in large part due to the success and the contributions from the Riverboat Foundation. I think we'd still be here otherwise, but I don't think we'd be knocking it out of the park like we are without just your projects have been like the linchpin for so many big things so thank you.
Yeah, well, we're really fortunate to have the casino here. Cedar Rapids voted against it 2 times.
Yes,
Now
that's a
they'd like
whole-
to see it, but twice they turned it down. And so this particular casino group was looking for a place to land, and they chose Washington County, and we're really fortunate because it has changed everything. It has changed the schools, it has changed the downtown area, it has changed every town in our county because of the monies that have come through gambling to the Riverboat Foundation and out again.
Well, there's a lining there, so agreed completely. With those monies, there's the body that controls those purse strings, the leaders, the directors. Let's talk a little bit about that, the open seats and how that group exists to sort through the projects and direct those funds. Would you talk a little bit about how that process works and then these open positions that people can apply to serve in?
Right. Okay, so we have 14 board members. They serve 3-year terms, but they can serve 2 3-year terms. So generally when we get a new board member, we hope that they will have the time to serve 6 years. Because each new board member that comes on has to be what's the word?
Thoroughly vetted, I
Thoroughly
suppose.
vetted,
Yeah.
yes, that's the right word, by the Department of Criminal Investigation. So everything is all on the up and up as far as gambling. in every
Background
shape
check,
or form.
thorough, to make sure that in that leadership role that your bases are covered. Yeah.
That's right. So we have 14 board members, 3 of whom are going off at the end of this year, the beginning of 2023, and that's Sean Ellingson, Mark Weidman, and Shelley Cleverly.
Shelley, okay.
So we try to have a variety of locations. All the different towns, all the different areas of Washington are represented. These 3 people are all from the city of Washington area, so we're trying to replace them with people that are living in that area.
Because your other 11 seats kind of cover the rest of the county right now.
We have people from
Yeah.
Crawfordsville, Brighton, Wellman, Kelowna, Ainsworth, from all the other areas. That's not to say a new board member couldn't be from one of those areas as well, but we try to have a variety.
Sure.
Variety of men and women, a variety of locations where they live, rural and city, and throughout the county.
And we mentioned we can put this in the chat. You meant on the website there is a link where people could apply. What is the application process like? Is it quite long, or it's like a resume and a letter?
It's just a one-page questionnaire of where you live, who you are, what your hobbies are, what do you like to do, what has been your occupation,
nice.
why do you want to serve on the board, what do you hope to accomplish by serving on the Riverboat Foundation board, and a couple of references, and are you willing to go through the background check with the DCI, and then are you willing to attend meetings regularly. Generally once a month, a couple of months of the year, we don't have anything going on, so we don't have a meeting.
And then a couple of events that are fun, because you get to, when you give out these dollars, people get to come and say thank you and write the checks. And
Yeah, we
those
have an
are
annual
special.
event at the casino where we celebrate the winners, because actually the winners, not only do they get the money, but they have done all the work, right?
Sure.
They have to have these nonprofit organizations, they have to do the work, they have to apply for the grant, and then produce the project that they said that they were going to do. So they're the ones doing all the work. We honor them, and we celebrate that we were able to give out this much money.
As we should. And we will put that in the chat. There's the website link, and that's where Nick is so great. Thanks for doing all the work.
Oh yeah, there should be. It's actually pinned in the comment section. The link to the application.
That's perfect. That's what we'd like. So if you're listening and this is something that interests you, and I'm sure if someone had questions, they could reach out and connect with you.
Absolutely, please do. And my phone number's on the website as well, or in the email address. And we'd like to have applicants apply by September 21st, if possible, because we will be interviewing them sometime in October, and have them join us for our celebration in
perfect.
November. And then they officially become board members in January.
Well, that is good. We'll put that in the chat. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about some of the major projects that I think the Riverboat Foundation has funded, or kind of how the projects, maybe how the grant cycles work and how people can apply, not for the director position, but apply for funding to help. So stick around after the break, watching Washington Live with my guest today, Patty Koller, and I'm your host, Jaron Rosine. We'll be right back after these commercials.
Since 1905, Kelowna Cooperative Technology Company has helped our community stay connected with the latest advancements in clear, dependable telecommunications services. KCTC provides rural Iowans with access to high-speed fiber internet, as well as phone, television, computer repair, and cybersecurity solutions. We're also proud supporters of local organizations and area schools within the community. KCTC, keeping Kelowna connected.
For many, farmland holds more than financial value. It holds emotional value. Whether your farm has been in your family for generations or it's an investment, we recognize the importance of your relationship with your land. At Hertz Farm Management, we have been serving landowners in Iowa for over 75 years. At Hertz, we bring a personal and knowledgeable approach to helping customers manage, buy, sell, or appraise farms. We invite you to visit our Washington office and partner with someone you can trust.
Welcome back to Washington Live. I'm your host, Jaron Rosine. I'm joined by Riverboat Foundation Executive Director, Patty Koller. Hi, again. So we were just on the break, what we wanted to cover, a little bit about grant cycles, but then just to clarify where those monies come from, and they are from gaming.
Yes, all the monies that we get are from gambling at the Riverside Casino and Golf Resort. They don't come from the event center or the dining. It's just from the gaming.
So those are good ways to support, but when people are spending money,
Yes.
it's giving back.
That's right. Whether you're winning or losing out there, you're giving money to the Washington County Riverboat Foundation.
Well, and then the ripple is major, as it makes a huge difference that we talked about. Of course, the leaders that you get to coordinate are the 14 board members, of which 3 openings will now exist. Focused in the city of Washington to kind of cover those, and you have until September 21st if that is something that interests you. So that aside, you mentioned how due to COVID there's been some evolution of the grant cycle, the large, the small, or the anything. What can people expect? Of course, the grant cycle is closed for the fall. The next one will be in the spring.
Right.
What can people expect and be getting ready for now?
So the fall grant cycle is in the hands now of the committees to decide which of those 46 applicants will receive a grant. And that information will come out in October or November once we make that decision. And then for next year, we'll have a spring grant cycle, probably starting late January, maybe early February, with culmination in May.
Okay.
Of the announcements, and then we'll probably have another fall grant cycle as well. So 2 grant cycles next year. I anticipate whether you want a small grant or a large grant, you could apply for either amount, any amount.
So that's wonderful. That's part of the evolution. Instead of having to sort the big projects and the small projects, anyone can apply for the project.
That's right. We used to have 3 grant cycles. And then COVID hit and we had to stop. We had to abruptly stop.
Halt
grant
everything,
cycles,
yeah.
Halt everything because we had no revenue coming in. The only revenue that we have is from the Riverside Casino and Golf Resort, from their gaming. So when that stopped, we had to stop giving out grants. And so then we had an evolution of what we wanted to do and how often, and we wanted to make certain that we had enough money to fund the grants that we had already given.
Oh, sure.
And at that point, we had given the YMCA $3.5 million. We didn't have $3.5 million. We anticipated getting more as time went on, but the casino closed. So we had to step back and say, okay, now we need to make sure we have that money in the future before we grant it out, just in case. We don't know
Sure.
now what happens.
So I guess that is my question, and maybe we're getting into the weeds a little, but
Yeah, I guess
some of the
so.
mechanisms interest me. I was going to ask because you don't really keep the money that comes in, you're giving all of the money out. You're not really sitting on a pile of it. The money comes in, and then you push that out to
Yeah,
people.
in fact, I got to tell you. So when we
Yeah.
first started in 2006, the casino opened in August 2006. In the fall of 2006, before we had very much money at all, we gave $2 million to the Wellman Rec Center to build.
Which is wonderful.
We gave
Great
$1 million
facility.
for the library in Washington, and we gave about $600,000 to other smaller groups, We didn't even have
Well, that's-
$200,000 in the bank.
We are gambling, so it's the definition of it. Oh my
But we were
goodness.
so excited to start doing this, and with the guarantee or the promise that the money would continue to come. And so that's how we've operated all
It
these
makes
years.
me nervous just thinking about
Right?
that. That's like a lot, but cool.
But that's how we operated, with giving the money out almost before we had it, really, until COVID happened. And then we realized there is a possibility that this could stop.
That something could change, so we have to just adjust
So we
a
had
little
to
bit.
adjust a little bit, and we have. And so we have a grant out now to the YMCA to build a new pool for $3 million. And we currently have $3 million in our account. So if anything bad would happen again,
You can still-
we could pay that off.
Well, and that is a project I'm really excited about. I'm not on that Y board, but I enjoy going to the Y we mentioned before. And that pool, yeah,
gonna be
we had
awesome.
Amy on and we showed some plans. I'm just so glad that they're doing it right. Instead of just having done a small one that might have happened in phase one, to wait and just do it well and do it right makes me
Right.
so happy.
And none of these things could really have happened in Washington, Iowa, could they, without the Riverboat Foundation monies, without the money from gaming from the Riverside Casino? We wouldn't have that kind of a YMCA.
I was going
We
to
wouldn't
say
have that kind of a
we
library.
might still have the Y, we'd still have a pool, we'd still have a library, but not to the
But not
degree.
like that. We wouldn't have that wellness center that's next to the YMCA, or the streetscaping that has happened in Kelowna or Washington. There's so many things. You look down, you look to the schools, all the computers that we gave when computers were a thing at the beginning. So much computer technology was given by the Riverboat Foundation to schools all over the county. There's so many things when you look back. Well, over $50 million that has gone out because of this in Washington County. We've shared a little bit in the county surrounding the area, a little bit.
Sure, because those monies come in from those
That's
surrounding
right.
counties. I know that you guys have been very generous.
That's right.
My mind was going to, like, we talked about the ripple, and I see that as, I wear different hats as mayor or as business owner, but I guess I'm speaking of the streetscape and having that economic impact for just the restaurant and the people that I serve lunch to, or the concerts that exist at the library that people of all ages in our community enjoy, which again, that's a few iterations down from the money that you gave for the library, but the fact that it exists to the degree that it does, there's just a lot of little ways that
yeah,
it
a lot
impacts.
of that probably comes from the municipal grants that we give. We didn't touch on that. So 25% of our revenue, right off the top, goes to the municipalities of the
Yep,
county.
got you.
So Washington gets some, Ainsworth gets some. Some of these smaller towns in Washington County, they depend on that money for some infrastructure stuff, some really important, like Ainsworth is depending on that for a water tower, water emergency that they had. Westchester depends on that money for some very small things that they
That are major.
have to do that are major.
Because the burden would be on the taxpayer otherwise, and that could be a lot, and by the riverboat help, you know.
Yeah. So
that reduces that burden.
25% of our revenue goes directly to the cities to spend as they see fit, but also they talk
Submit,
with us
yep.
about what they plan to do. We want them to do fun things, especially if they have revenues that they can do the infrastructure themselves.
Well, I know that's been pivotal for the city of Washington, and I think our philosophy had changed a little because there were times when we had to use it for infrastructure, major stuff that just couldn't be avoided. But then the goal was certainly to use it for the above and beyond, the extra, the fun.
The above and beyond, the
Yeah.
extra that other counties, they don't have that luxury of doing. And so we're really fortunate in Washington County that we do have that luxury to be able to do the above and beyond.
Well, that's why we're happy to talk about it today,
fun.
and specifically to plug the 3 openings for those board director seats that we have the link in the chat if that's something that interests you. We have some birthday shout-outs and a birthday game. Before we do that, is there anything that we've missed? Can you think of anything?
Not that I can think of. Just like I said, the gaming revenues from the Riverside Casino come to the Washington County Riverboat Foundation, and that is how we were able to give out so much money in Washington County.
Thank you for coming on to talk about it and for indulging in the birthday game that we have planned. I do have some birthday shout outs. If you have a birthday shout out, as always, you can put that in the chat or you can email washialive@gmail.com. Birthdays on my friend list include John Woodward, Victoria Ensminger, Rhonda Wilson, and fellow classmate Tia Showalter all have birthdays or just had a birthday. Happy birthday to you guys. Looks like we have 5 celebrity birthdays.
Okay.
And we shared the rules before, but can you do a recap, Nick?
Yes.
How's this game work?
So I'll put a celebrity on the screen whose birthday is today. You have to guess their age. If you're within 3 years, you get a point. If you get it right on, you get 2 points.
Okay.
And the tiebreaker is whoever gets the most right on question.
All right.
Sometimes it's nice to
All right,
tie because
let's-
it's friendly competition.
I'm competitive.
You are
Sure.
competitive? Oh, right. I do have 2 national days that Nick has on the list here for me. It looks like it's National Boss Employee Exchange Day.
Yeah, I was hoping Matt was going to be sitting on this episode.
new one.
Apparently, you're supposed to like physically for a day switch spots with your boss to see like what, so that way you guys can better understand what you guys do on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, that sounds risky.
That's yeah, so Matt could have been operating the board.
And then apparently it's National Report Medicare Fraud Day.
Yeah, apparently you're supposed to report that to the DOJ, and apparently the average payout is $690,000 because
fraud?
you get 15 to 25% of the fraud, like however much that person stole.
Oh, if you report
If you
it?
report it, you get 15 to 25% of that as your reward, and the average payout is $690,000.
Wow.
Because apparently it's a very
Well,
common
then
thing.
we can chalk that up to something else I've learned today that I did not know. That's
Good
it.
for you. Every day is a learning day.
That's
good.
right.
That's what I'm here for.
I learned, a little bit about Wolf Floral too, which is kind of fun. All right, let's play our game and close out today's show. Nick, who's our first celebrity that we need to guess?
Our first is Hans Zimmer, who is arguably one of the best music composers, probably only rivaled by like the likes of John Williams.
All right, yeah, that's where I recognized the name. Would you like to go first?
I'm going to say he's 63.
And I will go to 66 on this one.
You guys both get a point. He is 65.
All right, we're off to a good start.
That's a good start.
Okay.
This might be where it goes downhill. We have Yao Ming, the former NBA player.
Yes, like 7 foot,
6, I think.
7'6". Okay.
Yeah, from China. Here's him in 2008, and then the one on the right is 2012 from the both Beijing Olympics.
2022.
What did I say? 2012.
That's all good.
2022. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, this one's tougher. You go first this time.
I will. So I try to. Sometimes I put my own age in mind. I'm going to go 42. 42.
Okay, well, I'll say 45 then.
He is 42. So James,
Good job.
still get a point though. Still get a
Yep,
point.
1 point there. We're just ahead by 1. That doesn't happen very often. That was dumb luck. We have 3 more birthdays. Who's next?
dear.
We have Jennifer Hudson, the musician and then actress where she sings in movies, I guess. So
All right.
still acts.
Goodness, how old is she? She's not very old. I'm going to say she's 40.
40. All right. I will go 37.
She is 41. So we've tied it up.
Jared, here we go.
0 for me, 1 for you, with 3 and 3. Nick is real bad at math, by the way.
Oh yeah, so we might have to do
That's
a
why you
recount
keep
at the
score.
end.
Brilliant in many ways, but the mathematics.
Oh, dear.
So we have Kelsey Ballerini, the pop country artist, I believe. Just when I worked in the radio station, I remember her name coming up.
I
I
have
really
no
don't know
idea.
much
So
about her.
young.
Very young.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. I'm going to say 24.
And I was thinking like 22. I really have no idea. So we'll go with that.
22. She is actually 29. So
Oh,
Hey, I'm closer.
so we're still
Closer.
tied.
we used to play it that way, but the math got too hard.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because we were going, that was too
I
much.
do apologize for 2 Chainz. I don't know.
Oh, my
I don't know how
goodness.
familiar you guys are with his discography, but
Who
this
is
is
he?
the only celebrity I could. Other celebrity.
Is he a musician?
A rapper.
A rapper.
He's a
yeah.
rapper.
I didn't want to. Yeah. All right.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I can go first if you'd like, or you can.
This is for all the marbles.
35. 35. I'll say. I have no idea.
I think older than that. I'm going to go 45.
45. We're going to split it with the decade.
He is 45.
Oh my goodness. I think you knocked it out of the park. So that's 0 for me, 2 points for you.
So that ends on I believe 4-2.
5-3.
5-3.
Okay.
Yeah, 5-3. Yeah, same difference.
It is all good. And thank you for, again, indulging and then talking about the more important stuff, which of course is the Riverboat Foundation and how much they've done.
Don't forget the trophy. We have.
And if
And
you
don't forget
and
the
don't forget the trophy. That is thanks to Matt Bryant for knocking that out of the park. And thanks to all of our listeners for watching today, this episode of Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I'm your host, Jaron Rosine. Thanks to Nick. Thanks to Patty. Wednesday, John Gish. We'll see you then.